If you've been feeling like you've been at a cosmic fork in the road lately, like the universe is asking you to level up in a way that you've never been asked before, this video's for you. We're going to be diving deep into the most transformative week, a lucky week, and a week that we will see a new moon in Cancer on June 25th, 2025. And trust me, in the words of Sade, this just isn't any ordinary new moon. This is a soul-shaking, life-changing cosmic event that's here to separate those who are ready to grow from those who are ready to stay stuck. So grab your pencil, grab your popcorn, grab your blanket, grab your Kleenex, whatever you need, and let's dive in and see what the stars have in store for us. To start the week off, we have a powerful aspect going on. We have the Sun and Jupiter in Cancer at 1 and 2 degrees. We have Saturn and Neptune in Aries at 1 and 2 degrees. Days before this new moon, the Sun will square Saturn at 1 degree. Then it'll move on to square Neptune at 2 degrees. And Jupiter is hanging out at 2 degrees, currently square Neptune, which is adding some extra spice to this week. Now, being that they are at 1 and 2 degrees, respectively, from Cancer to Aries, that is water to fire. For those who are new to astrology, that is what we call a square, and a square is friction, tension. Square is of Mars energy, and with this square, it's the universe's way of saying, hey, there's some work that needs to be done with this growth. And when you have outer planets, and we have 4 outer planets squaring each other. So this is not just any old work. This may be a renovation project. I like to incorporate the Saban symbols and the interpretations because I think it adds a little flavor. Now, this new moon will be happening at 4 degrees Cancer, and the full moon, which will happen in January, will be happening at 13 degrees Cancer. Now, bringing in the Saban symbol. The Saban symbol for this degree, for the new moon in Cancer, is at a railroad crossing. An automobile is wrecked by a train. What is the key meaning to this? The automobile represents you as an individual. The train represents the overall collective force of like society. The full moon, which is happening, which will be happening in January, that Saban symbol is about a very old man facing a vast dark space to the northwest. The key meaning of this: wisdom gained through experience, confronting the unknown. What's better, to read about it or to actually do it? To read the manual or actually go out there and perform the act? Where will you acquire the most wisdom? With reading or listening, or actually doing? Now, when we go back to the railroad crossing, the automobile and the train wreck, it's not actually speaking of an actual wreck. So calm down, don't be scared. It's about forcing your way, Aries, without awareness or discipline could lead to crisis. It's about learning to work with the system rather than against it. You are the car. The train is the system. Think about the dynamics. Do you really think a car can beat a train? It's about what happens when the ego tries to fight against the unstoppable force of destiny, which could be the train. The ego is the car, destiny is the train. The universe is literally warning us, don't try to force your way through it. Work with this cosmic energy, not against it. Going back to the full moon and the old man facing the vast darkness, it's about wisdom, and it symbolizes the wisdom gained, someone learning to face the fears of the unknown. So we're going from a wreck to wisdom, ego collision to soul transcendence. That's the journey we are beginning. Let's look at the Sun Jupiter conjunction in Cancer for a second. Sun at 1 degree currently, Jupiter at 2 degrees currently. They will have a Cazimi on the 24th, the day before this new moon, but we will get to that. Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Cancer, we're looking at emotional illumination and expansive potential. We're looking at Cancer energizes themes of home, roots, family, safety, nurturing, your emotional memory. Jupiter here, the need for growth, protection, and emotional truth becomes magnified. The conjunction with the Sun, there's a strong pull to embody and expand one's emotional truth, ancestral wisdom, or inner security. The Sun conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. Key words is confidence, generosity, emotional warmth, but can also indicate overindulgence or exaggeration. Now let's bring it to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction over there at 1 and 2 degrees Aries, because they are square. Aries is raw instinct, identity, and action. Saturn in Aries is about self-discipline, trial by fire, and building through challenges. Neptune in Aries is more visionary, dreaming of a new identity, but can also be blurry line around personal assertion, or it can create spiritual confusion around direction of your willpower. Saturn and Neptune together in Aries suggest tensions between fantasy and form, vision and discipline, action and surrender, struggling to manifest ideals or facing reality checks. The Sun-Jupiter conjunction squaring the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. What are we looking at? We're looking at a clash between emotional security and personal will, between inner nourishment, Cancer, and outer assertion, Aries. There's a push to initiate a new identity due to karma or emotional or ancestral patterns connected to Cancer. Jupiter expands the emotional themes, bringing optimism, but also exaggeration, while Saturn reigns in Neptune's dreams and fantasies with a hard dose of realism. This could manifest as trying to grow or evolve emotionally while hitting walls of disillusionment or hard reality, Saturn-Neptune. Feeling called to step into new spiritual or emotional identity, but confronting deep insecurity or imposter syndrome. Feeling called to step into new spiritual or emotional identity, but confronting deep insecurity or imposter syndrome. A need to surrender your emotional comfort zone, Cancer, in order to discipline and ground your spiritual mission, Aries. Numerology wise, the number 1 is the pioneer. It points to fresh starts, initiating leadership and individuality, while 2 equals sensitivity and duality. It's about relating to others, intuition, emotional responsiveness. This square happening at the early degrees in a cardinal sign feels like planting a new soul seed, but it also feels like a crisis of courage, faith, or your foundation. It's about emotional growth versus ego boundaries, spiritual maturity through emotional honesty, a rebirth of identity with deep soul anchoring. Dreams must be structured to be able to manifest. I did say a word earlier, and it was a word that most people don't hear a lot, and it's connected to the moon, this new moon, and it has something to say about this new moon, and it's going on June 24th, and it's the Cazimi, Sun-Jupiter Cazimi. Now, what is a Cazimi? That means in the heart of the sun, literally, heart of the sun. Now, the Cazimi is a rare, potent conjunction. Jupiter is getting a reset. It's burning off old karma from the last Cazimi and starting a new synodic karmic cycle. What does this Cazimi mean? It's a moment of clarity. Jupiter is a benefic planet, so Some say could be one of the luckiest days of the year when the sun and Jupiter meet. It's also about divine insight. You could be receiving downloads. Jupiter's expansion merges with your core identity. You could start being able to see the bigger picture. With this happening right before this new moon, it's setting the stage for the next 6 months. It's going ahead. Now, with this Cazimi, what questions should you be looking for? Or what truth will be revealed to you at this time? How can you align your actions with your vision? Remember, the Cazimi is like getting a direct download from the universe. It's divine insight. It's like that moment that everything suddenly makes sense. So the day before the new moon, you may get downloads and find clarity on the path you should take going forward. If you've been feeling lost, feeling like you can't find any answers, around June 24th, that's when some answers could start flowing through. One of the things I do want to point out are the bounds. What are bounds? Bounds are, so for instance, you got to realize these planets are not just out there willy-nilly. They have to work with each other. And so the bound, whatever, within, like for instance, Aries. Mars rules Aries, but within Aries, other planets rule different sections. So Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, but they're in the bounds of Jupiter. The Sun and Jupiter are in Cancer, but they are in the bounds of Mars. Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, and Mars is the ruler of Aries. So Mars has a lot to say about this new moon. Let's not forget, Mars spent an extended amount of time in the sign of Cancer in retrograde. Being that this new moon is in the bounds of Mars, and by the way, Mars will be sextile this new moon from Virgo. Just to add that. When a planet is in the bounds of another planet, everything is filtered through the lens of that bound ruler. Putting Mars as the bound ruler, we're adding an additional energy of urgency, confrontation, conflict, discipline, and willpower. Mars adds a sharp, cut-through quality, forcing a reckoning, forcing a decision, or can make you act out of self-assertion. This could make this aspect more volatile, but it also can make this aspect more productive, depending on how you choose to work with it. Now, Mars in Virgo is the disciplinarian surgeon. Mars in Virgo is detail oriented, perfection seeking, critical, health conscious, work driven. Mars in Virgo doesn't want drama. It wants improvement. It wants repair. It wants precision. But it also could be ruthlessly self-critical, anxious, or overly focused on fixing everything. Mr. Fix-It Man. When Mars was going retrograde in Cancer, it was forcing us to revisit family drama, all our emotional wounds, all our defensive patterns. And remember, Mars is there for a while. Now, for this new moon, and by the way, all of that wasn't punishment. It was getting us prepared for this new moon now. The sextile is a harmonious aspect, so Mars in Virgo is acting like that good friend coming over to help you clean out the garage or help you load up the moving van. That time that Mars spent retrograde in Cancer, it was to show you something. And now it's time to say, okay, You got to revisit all that and all the feelings resurface. What you gonna do about it? What does all this mean for you? If you're someone who's been trying to force outcomes, this new moon is going to humble you. The train wreck symbol isn't a threat. It's a wake-up call. Stop pushing so hard and start flowing with what's trying to emerge. If you've been playing it too safe, Saturn and Neptune in Aries is going to push you out of your comfort zone. These planets are in the superior position in the square, which means they are calling the shots. They're saying, time to be brave, time to act on your dreams. If you've been confused about your direction, Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, is here to help. But you have to be willing to feel your way forward, not just think your way forward. Now we have phase one, we have the wake-up call. This is when we get the cosmic download. Pay attention to what comes up around the Cazimi on June 24th and the new moon on the 25th. It's your North Star moment. Then we move on to the work. This is where you actually do the thing. Saturn and Neptune is going to test your commitment. Are you really ready to build your dreams? Or are you just blowing smoke? Shout out to the 2 o'clock session. Then we move on to the next phase, which is the wisdom part, speaking that connected to the full moon in January that the Saban symbol was speaking about. By the time we get to January, you'll understand why you had to go through everything you went through. That's like an ancient sword in a museum. Your battles will become your legacy. So how do you actually work with this energy? Here's your cosmic homework. Before June 24th, which would be, today, depending on when you're watching this video, but get clear on what you actually are trying to manifest. Release any attachment to how it happens. Clean up your emotional house. Mars retrograde showed you what needs healing. Then we get to the 24th, the Cazimi day. Make sure you meditate, journal, and be still. Pay attention to insights, dreams, or sudden knowings. This is when your soul is getting the downloads for your mission. Then the new moon comes on the 25th. Set your intentions here, but make them practical, reachable. Ask yourself, how can I serve? Not, what can I get out of this? Use the Mars and Virgo energy to make actual plans, not just talk about it. During the work phase, keep this in mind. When you hit an obstacle, and you will, we all do, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Also, you must remember, don't quit when things get hard. That's Saturn just doing its job. You also need to keep in mind to trust the process. You can't see the bigger picture just yet. The view is still not clear. The universe is asking us to mature, to stop operating from wounded ego and start operating from soul wisdom. The Cancer energy wants us to come home to ourselves, to our real feelings, our real needs, and our real truths. But the Aries energy won't let us just hide there. It's saying, great, you know who you are, now what you gonna do about it? This is about spiritual adulthood. It's about taking responsibility for your gifts and serving something bigger than yourself. You remember Uncle Ben said, with great strength comes great responsibility. Shout out to Uncle Ben. Now let's make all of this personal. Where is the new moon being activated in your chart? I'm about to go through each rising sign and wait for your rising sign to see where you due for a cosmic upgrade. Aries rising, Saturn and Neptune in your first house, square Jupiter and Sun in your fourth of home and family. Your identity and self-expression face direct challenges from family dynamics and emotional needs. The superior square from your first suggests that personal transformation will lead to resolution of family issues. The Cazimi event occurs in your 4th house, bringing profound insights about your roots and emotional foundation. Challenge. Your personal drive, Aries, clashes with family and emotional needs, Cancer. This new moon in your 4th house is a reset in home life, roots, or emotional security. Balance independence, Aries, with nurturing, Cancer, but don't bulldoze feelings. Taurus rising, Saturn in your 12th, hidden fears, squares, Sun and Jupiter in your 3rd of communication and siblings. Subconscious fears and hidden patterns interfere with your ability to communicate effectively and connect with your immediate environment. The square from the 12th suggests that spiritual work and addressing unconscious patterns will unlock your voice. The challenge, self-undoing 12th house, affects your mindset and short trips. This new moon in the 3rd house, new ways of expressing emotions or learning. Journal or speak your truth. Avoid escapism, Neptune in the 12th. Gemini rising, Saturn in the 11th of friends and groups, square Sun and Jupiter in the 2nd, values and money. Your social networks and group affiliations create confusion around values and financial stability. The square challenges you to discern between true friends and those who drain your resources. Challenge, idealism in friendship, Neptune, versus financial reality, Saturn. This new moon in the 2nd house, a fresh start in self-worth and income streams. Don't lend money blindly. Set boundaries, Saturn in the 11th. Cancer rising, Saturn, Neptune in the 10th, career, square Sun, Jupiter in the 1st, self-body. Career illusions and public image confusion directly challenge your personal identity and self-expression. This particularly powerful configuration as the new moon occurs in your 1st house, marking a complete identity rebirth. Challenge, career illusions, Neptune versus personal growth, Jupiter. New moon in the 1st house, a major identity reboot. Step into your power. Align your public image, 10th house, with your true self, 1st house. Leo rising, Saturn, Neptune in your 9th of beliefs and travel, squared Sun, Jupiter in your 12th, subconscious. Rigid beliefs and spiritual confusion create tension with your subconscious patterns and hidden wisdom. The square challenges you to release dogmatic thinking and trust your intuition. Challenge, spiritual crisis, 12th house, versus rigid beliefs, Saturn in the 9th. New moon, 12th house, a deep emotional release or psychic download. Meditate, don't force dogma, Saturn in the 9th. Virgo rising, Saturn, Neptune in the 8th of transformation, square Sun, Jupiter in the 11th of friends and goals. Deep transformation and power struggles affect your social networks and long-term goals. The square forces you to confront which relationships and dreams are truly supportive of your evolution. Challenge, power struggles, 8th house and groups, 11th house. This new moon in your 11th house, new social connections or revised dreams. Cut toxic alliances. Mars in Virgo helps you discern. Libra rising, Saturn, Neptune in the 7th of relationships, square Sun, Jupiter in the 10th of career. Relationship confusion and partnership illusions create tension with your career ambitions and public reputation. The square demands you to balance personal relationships with your professional goals. Challenge, unrealistic partners, Neptune versus career pressure, Saturn. The new moon in the 10th, a professional fresh start. Balance relationships, 7th house, and ambition, 10th house. Don't sacrifice one for the other. Scorpio rising, Saturn, Neptune is in your 6th of health and work, square Sun, Jupiter in the 9th of philosophy and travel. Daily routines and work responsibilities conflict with your desire for expansion and higher learning. The square challenges you to integrate spiritual wisdom into your practical daily life. Challenge, workaholism, 6th house, versus Wanderlust, 9th house. This new moon in the 9th house gives you a new perspective or educational pursuit. Schedule downtime. Don't burn out. Saturn in the 6th. Sagittarius rising. Saturn Neptune in your 5th of creativity and romance. Square Sun Jupiter in the 8th, shared resources. Creative expression and romantic idealism clash with issues of shared resources and deep transformation. The square forces you to confront how creative and romantic pursuits affect your financial and emotional security. Challenge: love illusions, Neptune versus financial mergers, 8th house. This new moon in your 8th house, a financial or intimate rebirth. Don't mix love and money without clear terms. Saturn in the 5th. Capricorn rising. Saturn Neptune in the 4th house of family, square Sun Jupiter in the 7th of partnerships. Family baggage and emotional foundations create tensions with your partnerships and one-on-one relationships. The square demands you to heal family wounds before committing to others. Challenge: family baggage, 4th house, versus relationship growth, 7th house. The new moon in the 7th house, a new relationship or contract. Heal family wounds before committing, Saturn in the 4th house. Aquarius rising. Saturn Neptune in the 3rd of communication, squaring Sun Jupiter in the 6th of health and routine. Communication confusion and mental fog interfere with your daily routines and health practices. The square challenges you to clarify your thinking and establish healthier daily patterns. Challenge: miscommunications, Neptune versus work stress, Saturn. This new moon in your 6th, a health or daily routine overhaul. Advice: clarify work emails and chats. Avoid assumptions, Neptune in the 3rd. Pisces rising. Saturn Neptune in your 2nd of money, square Sun Jupiter in your 5th of joy and creativity. Financial confusion and resource limitations conflict with your creative expression and joy. The square forces you to balance practical financial needs with creative romantic pursuits. Challenge: financial confusion, Neptune versus creative risk, Jupiter. This new moon in your 5th, a passion project or romantic spark. Budget before splurging, Saturn in the 2nd. Just to recap this evolutionary timeline, we have initiation, Cazimi Day, June 24th. A flash of spiritual insight and guidance. Jupiter's wisdom illuminates solar identity. Key question: what truth is being revealed about your path? The new moon, June 25th. Emotional reset and intention setting. Mars in Virgo provides the practical framework. Warning against impulsive actions. Remember the train wreck symbol. Opportunity to apply the lessons that were learned from the Mars retrograde period. We got the testing and building. Saturn, Neptune, square challenges. We have ongoing tensions between dreams and discipline. Reality checks on over-optimism expectations. Need to structure spiritual visions practically. Avoiding escapism and maintaining faith. Mars in Virgo. Remember, Mars in Virgo is here to lend a supportive hand. Bringing a methodical approach to problems. Focus on health, routine, and service. Analytical solutions to emotional overwhelm. Bridge your vision and manifestations. Coming around to the full moon culmination, we have integration of lessons learned through challenges, transformation of struggles into wisdom, the ancient sword in the museum, battles become legacy, old man facing darkness, transcending perspectives. Keep in mind the planetary bound interpretations, Saturn, Neptune in the bounds of Jupiter. Challenges feel like lessons of courage rather than pure obsession. Idealism tied to beliefs and higher purpose. Karma serving spiritual growth and expansion. Sun, Jupiter exalted in the bounds of Mars. Identity driven by emotional needs plus assertive action. Growth coming through fighting for security. Nurturing instincts channeled into protective action. Now, here's some signs that some of this stuff may be happening to you. You may be experiencing some of this energy already. If you're feeling called to completely change direction in life, old emotional patterns are coming up to be healed. You're seeing through illusions you used to believe. You feel inspired and terrified at the same time. Authority figures or structures in your life are being challenged. If you're being asked to step up and lead in some way. If any of this resonates with you, you're on track. The discomfort is the point. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. You're being tested to align your dreams with discipline or face avoidable crisis. A revelation is coming, so listen carefully, then act with wisdom. This journey won't be easy, but understand each challenge is deliberately sculpting your resilience, forging strength you didn't know you possessed. One day you'll look back with clarity and see that every struggle served a purpose. That what felt like meaningless suffering was actually meaningful preparation. You're not lost in random chaos or abandoned to random hardship. You're being initiated, being transformed through trials that are shaping you into who you're meant to become. If this resonated with you, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe for more of this cosmic guidance. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you're ready to release. What dreams are you ready to build? And if you would like to go deeper into your personal birth chart, come to the website or check the link down below and book a personal reading. Don't forget to come to the 2 o'clock sessions at the website, IamAstrologyReadings.com. Don't forget $50 Fridays. Until the next time. I end this. Know thyself and balance your energy.